On February 23, 2021, golf legend Tiger Woods was in a horrific car accident. He was lucky to be alive and suffered a number of serious leg injuries, including open fractures in his right leg. And he was told that there was a 50-50 chance that the leg would need to be amputated. Fast forward 14 months later, and Woods competed at the 2022 Masters. How is this possible? Well, Tiger Woods is no stranger to coming back from serious injuries. Throughout his career, he's had 5 surgeries on his back and a further 6 on his left knee. This time though, it almost seemed superhuman, given it seriously looked like he'd never play professional golf ever again. What really is at the heart of this insane comeback? Well, it's also the same thing that's been at the heart of his entire career success. It's a simple personality trait, one that all elite performers have to show in order to reach the top, but also stay there and climb back up after getting knocked down. And that trait is called conscientiousness. Right, so what is that? Well, conscientiousness is defined as the personality trait of being diligent. It implies a desire to do a task well and to take obligations to others seriously. In other words, there's nothing you do that's half-assed. You're all in, all the time. And how is that helpful in sport? Well, if we look at Tiger Woods, there are 3 things he's embodied throughout his career that provide a perfect template for being conscientious. First, this trait leads you to carry out deliberate practice. Now, I did a previous video on deliberate practice, but the basic premise is that deliberate practice is that which is intentional. It is super focused and constantly challenges you just outside of your comfort zone. It's not just about hitting some balls at the driving range, it's about meticulously working on every single component of your swing for hours at a time, and then chaining that all together so that you can then hit the ball further than you've ever hit it before. And we can see that Tiger did a lot of deliberate practice. Just listen to his daily routine when he was in his mid-20s.
I used to get up in the morning, run 4 miles, then I go to the gym, do my lift, then I'd hit balls for about 2 to 3 hours. I would go play, come back, work on my short game. I'd go run another 4 more miles. And then if anybody wanted to play basketball or tennis, I would go play basketball or tennis. And that was a daily routine.
He took being a golfer to a new level in terms of training for this sport as a serious athlete. No one else was really lifting before him and doing that kind of cardio. But that's what conscientious people do. They're so deliberate in their practice that they're constantly looking for ways to improve and get better, even if that means breaking the status quo and doing things that no one else is doing. And in order to do that, you need another key feature of being conscientious: seeking the input of others. Throughout his career, Tiger has had to reinvent his swing numerous times to improve his game and allow his body to cope with the demands placed upon it. So he's always sought out the best coaches. Since 1996, he's worked with 4 different swing coaches, including Butch Harmon, who many consider as the greatest golf coach ever. But Tiger has not been afraid to cut ties with each of his coaches, because those who are conscientious are so fixated on doing things to the best of their ability, and therefore understand that anything and anyone can become stale, that things need to be refreshed every now and then so that you don't become complacent and instead keep evolving. Those who have a career marked by such longevity can only do this if they show the conscientiousness necessary to reinvent themselves. But where does that desire come from? Why are people like Tiger Woods always so hungry to remain on top? Well, another thing with conscientious people is that they want things to be done in an exact order, exactly how they want things to go down. And so when that doesn't happen, they fucking hate it. And what that means in sport is instead of being compelled to win, a lot of the time conscientious people are actually more compelled to avoid losing. Steve Williams, Tiger's former caddy of 13 years, said that what really made Tiger stand out was his hatred of losing. Williams said he'd never come across a person who absolutely loathed coming second. Tiger, fight! Because Tiger knew that if he did everything to a T, then he would win. There was a period of his career in the 2000s where he was near unbeatable, and the only way he would lose was from his own mistakes. And so for a lot of conscientious people, one of the ironic things is that yes, they enjoy the thrill of winning, but that feeling is not as strong as the pain of losing. So this forces you to nail everything, get everything 100% in order, get your fitness to the highest level, and fine-tune your skills to perfection. And it's that approach that allowed Tiger Woods, a man in his 40s, to come back from a life-changing, career-threatening accident and play professional golf again at the highest level in a little over a year. There is, however, a dark side to this conscientiousness that we've seen with Tiger Woods. So that obsession with deliberate practice can often result in overtraining, which is something Tiger Woods has definitely been guilty of given his injury and surgery track record. And this thirst to seek out information from others has meant that Tiger has sometimes quite bluntly and coldly fired his coaches and members of his team. And that hatred of losing can lead you to become a control freak who thinks they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. And in Tiger's case, we saw how that trait manifested in the destruction of his family life. So like anything else, this desirable trait has another side of the coin that you have to be aware of. But conscientiousness is something that on the whole, people need to be if they're going to reach the top of their field. So is there anything you can do as an athlete to be more like Tiger Woods? Well, the good news is a lot of psychologists believe that personality is something that is fluid and can change with experience. It just requires a lot of effort to gradually change your habitual ways of behaving and thinking. And over time, this can lead to some changes in your default personality traits. And so to make those gradual changes, it just requires a lot of effort. And if it didn't, then we'd all be Tiger Woods. But a great practical thing you can do to start moving the needle is engage in habit chaining. Now, I won't go into the mechanics of habit formation, given everyone in the world has probably read Atomic Habits by James Clear by now. But let's just chat through habit chaining, which is basically adding a new behavior onto an existing routine. So for Tiger Woods, his insane training days did not involve all those things every day from birth. He would have gradually tagged on these things alongside his golf training. So for a few weeks or months, he would have done the 4-mile run in the morning. And then once that became routine, he would have added on the gym sessions. And then once that became routine, he would have added in the evening 4-mile run. So do the same thing in your training. Just think about what's the next logical thing to piece on to what you're already doing. And just focus solely on that until that becomes routine and habit. And we can do this by setting if-then plans. So if you go to the driving range, then you'll do some yoga after. Or if it's a rest day, then you'll go for an easy swim. So just see what you're already doing and tag these things on bit by bit. And just remember that being conscientious is about doing a task well. So if you're trying to do 5 new things at once, you're not going to do any of them well. Anyway, keep that in mind. And if you're wanting to learn other underrated skills to help you reach the top of your game, then check out this next video here.